After 2 defective capture cards, a blue screen PC, and an otherwise enjoyable holiday season thanks in no small part to the indie titles Bleed, Eternum, and Soulcaster, A Week at the Indies is back to start 2013 off right, with a quality batch of dirt cheap independent gaming on your 360. Of course, what stroll through a beautiful park would be complete without the stench of a nearby urine-soaked hobo, so we'll be bringing you the bad and the mediocre as well. But first, we start the good with Avatar Football. It figures that a week where I don't use some cliché sports metaphor in the introduction is also a week where one of the best titles to hit the indie marketplace involves sports. Barker's Crest, makers of Avatar Golf and Avatar Legends, and one of the few studios that doesn't make me hate the use of Microsoft's version of the Mii, pretty much just provided every gamer in their late 20s or above with a very customizable indie version of Tecmo Bowl. If you think that sounds amazing, trust me, it is. It combines the best of both Tecmo Bowl's fast-paced gameplay and Madden's deep customization. For the pick-up-and-play casual, nothing is too complicated, and there are even reminders of what the buttons do at the bottom of the screen as far as offense evasion. For the people that really want to get into it, you can make multiple playbooks and multiple 32-team leagues, and if you have friends with the game, you can share your creations over Xbox Live. Speaking of which, the game offers up to 6-player competitive play over Xbox Live, and up to 4-player local play. While this probably won't take the place of either Madden or Tecmo Bowl for most people, at a mere 240 points, I'm positive that it has a place in many libraries, including a non-sports gamer like myself. Another game that seems to go for mass appeal is the iPad-iPhone port Little Acorns Deluxe. This simple platformer gives you a squirrel, a bunch of acorns, and the controls to join the two so your little woodland family won't starve. Each level is filled with different kinds of platforms and enemies, and your job is to find the fastest way to gather all the acorns and move to the exit. If you're quick enough, you can gather fruit afterward and be rewarded with different clothes and hats and stuff for your bread-winning squirrel. In addition to the game looking and sounding on par with the normal bright and cheerful iPad casual titles, Little Acorns Deluxe also controls well. Like, really well. Better than most of the platformers on the Xbox Live Indie Games Marketplace. So, it's fun, it's functional, it's family-friendly, and it's colorful. Did I mention it's only 80 points and it has 2-player co-op? If you like platformers, there's little reason for you to pass this one up, other than if you already have it on whatever portable Apple device you can afford that I can't. The last game getting the yes vote this week is Genix. This weird shooter of sorts puts you in a labyrinth with a limited amount of ammo and a host of colored doors and keys between you and the exit. Well, that, and a bunch of things to shoot, of course. The controls are a bit loose, the enemy's a little too bullet spongy, the 240 price point is higher than most indie games on the market, and considering everything looks the same, it's easier getting lost in here than it is in the Amazon rainforest. But Genix comes away as more than just the sum of its parts. It's fun, it's fast, and it's a throwback to the old days of early single-player shooters where the focus was on the gameplay and the exploration, and not moving from cutscene to cutscene. It's worth at least a look, and, if you like the trial, possibly a purchase. Speaking of fun and fast, that's exactly what you won't hear when I describe our first game with a no medal around its neck, Pirates Attack. In this waste of time, you walk from cannon to cannon slowly firing rounds at incoming pirate ships. If you hit anywhere between the hull and the top of the mast, including the air between the sails, you do damage. The same amount of damage, might I add, so don't worry about aiming too much. It's about as much fun as watching a progress bar fill up, and does its best to earn no points. Moving on. And just when you thought we'd seen enough crappy zombie survival arena shooters, Zombie Splatter arrives late to the potluck with a dish of mediocrity for all the remaining guests. On the upside, it's 3D mediocrity, so if you have some funky glasses or a really expensive television, I suppose you can have another game to play in 3D. But if you have literally any other zombie survival shooter out there, you're probably better off saving your 240 MS points. Well, at least this thing doesn't have zombies. It really doesn't have much of anything else, to be honest. Harvester is a sort of puzzle game thing. It's kind of like Pipe Dream, only without the threat of impending leakage. Or really the threat of anything. You just make a path across the field or whatever it's supposed to be. I quit out of the trial in less than 2 minutes because I was already bored. And that's ignoring how lazy the presentation is. Sorry, buddy, your crop wasn't ready to be harvested. Another game that didn't win my heart is the physics puzzle game Ricochet. In all honesty, if this was the first of its kind, I'd be much more forgiving. But I've seen so many of these, I can't begin to fathom why one would take the time to create and put one of these on sale, other than the ease of making them. I'll take this over the beer pong games any day, but there are better physics puzzlers out there in both style and substance. It feels like it's been a while since I've seen a generic, boring twin-stick shooter hit the marketplace. Unfortunately, Tank Attack 2D broke that streak, and now here I am wishing the calm lasted just a little bit longer. We got tanks that don't move like tanks, the ability to exit one side of the screen and reappear on the other to kill off most of the difficulty, enemies that spawn on top of you with no previous indication, probably to ramp the difficulty up after killing it with that previous part, and no music to help drown out the annoying and repetitive sound effects of tank fire. There are probably 50 or more twin-stick shooters on this marketplace, and nothing about this one will stick with me after today, other than how much it sucks. The last of this sad lot is the Ninjabread Men. Cute title aside, Ninjabread Men is also a mediocre twin-stick shooter with no music. 2 in 1 week is pretty impressive. Note to the developers out there, there are free music libraries for this purpose. Use them. Back to why this game sucks. Ninjabread Man just feels half-baked. Like someone's very first game ever. No music, no animation, slow movement. I might have enjoyed it more than any other game in the no category this week, but considering the competition, that's not really saying anything nice. Our first game aiming for a consolation prize this episode is Decoy. Truthfully, I would have put this in with the rejected games if it wasn't for the somewhat novel idea that your job is to drive around and get shot at so someone else far away can carry out a military mission with less trouble. So essentially, you're the Army's rodeo clown. Missions either require you to make the enemy waste all their bombs, or drive to the finish line without eating too many bombs or running into a bullet train. The controls are easy and everything feels responsive, but this is definitely one of those times where you should try before you buy. Next up is Kube Ball. It's Pong, and really there isn't too much more to it than that, other than the character-specific power-ups. Power-ups in a Pong clone have been done before, for better or for worse, and here they do alright and give the game some needed flavor. The other thing that helps out a lot is the fact that things get fast. Matches are first to 3, and thankfully the ball gets to blinding speeds pretty quickly. I doubt the online multiplayer is going to get used much, if at all, but if you want a Pong game to play with friends locally for one reason or another, then Kube Ball is one of the better ones. Another done-to-death genre on Microsoft's indie service is the one-button platformer. The Impossible game and its 50 clones have all promised and delivered on short but sadistic auto-scrolling platforming, and the latest that joined their ranks is the last game we got this week, The Runner. So why would you get this if you have any of the others? Because in this one you control 2 runners at once, one on the top, the other on the bottom, each controlled by one of the bumpers. It still boils down to memorization, but if you're going to get a game that challenges you for a while, The Runner will do so more than most any other of its genre. And that brings another week to a close. Join me next week as we wade through the dirty waters in search of indie gold with the hopes that we bring back more than soiled clothes and a weird smell. But for now, thanks